All right. Welcome everyone to the session. So we're here for the AI Revolution 2025 with SCB. And the topic for today is owning your AI, owning your data, and having the IP and the earning rewards. So my name is Kun, and I'm a general partner of Blockchain Builders Fund, and also founders of Stanford Blockchain Accelerator. I also organize several Stanford blockchain events at Stanford University. Also teach at Stanford on Web3 as well. Today we have the honor to have Sean Ring, CEO and co-founder of Sahara AI. So just want to pass the mic to Sean to do a brief intro and say hi to the audience.
Thank you, Kun. Hey, everyone. I'm Shannon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sahara AI, also an associate professor at University of Southern California Computer Science Department. It's my great honor to be here sharing things that we've been up to. I've been working in AI, especially research, for over 15 years and been witnessing great breakthroughs in the past few years, especially on generative AI. And what really concerns me while we are still trying to improve the AI capability is that the economic infrastructure seems to be broken for AI ecosystem, where not everyone can be fairly and equitably compensated for their contributions in the whole life cycle of AI development. And Sahara AI is having the mission to try to change this current paradigm and shift into a more equitable AI driven future where we can use the blockchain to really provide a transparent and auditable provenance infrastructure to power alternative economic models for AI development. Yeah, great to share more about that.
Yeah, awesome mission. Yeah, definitely. So in the future, folks have more ownership and can earn reward in a more transparent, auditable AI future. That sounds very great or great mission and vision. That being said, I just want to actually dive into what you commented on the data ownership side on today's AI economy. So I think you said in the past, like one day your job might be replaced by AI. That you actually, without knowing, you help to train, contribute to your data, without knowing. So can you paint a picture of how it is happening right now across both on the enterprise level, but also on the individual level?
Yeah, I think to start with a simple example, right? How ChatGPT or the whole family of ChatGPTs was trained is based on the entire internet data, especially like prominent ones like Wikipedia, Reddit, Twitter, and many others, right? So this data essentially come from many of our individual contributors just publish our curated informations without getting any credits yet, right? But they were used by large language model companies to basically doing pre-training of the models to equip them with the world knowledge, the common sense knowledge, the factual knowledge about the world. And these models start monetizing themselves by feeding these informations to various downstream users, getting revenue in, but this revenue never go back to the upstream contributor. And this basically is one great example of how enterprise of especially providers of language model services are benefiting from internet data, which are basically aggregation of human curated data, but without giving back credit to them. Another big places where such a imbalanced economic relationship happens between model providers and creators and the contributors of individual users is when you are using these AI apps. For example, when you are doing some sort of AI assistance with for your daily jobs, you upload Excel files, you upload PDFs, you upload a bunch of other proprietary informations for your own business or personal repository in order to seek answers. You are basically implicitly feeding this data to those model provider store in their cross services. There's some degree of user consent about how this data could be used for training the AI or improving the AI, but still in a very vague and gray zone. I don't think companies have done a great job doing that. Legislation is quite slow, falling behind. So this is another channel where this AI application with huge user base actually got to access proprietary information about a user and just secretly improve themselves to master the knowledge of these like vertical domain experts. Again, no clear user control, no clear user consent, and models being improved in a pretty black box way using this data without giving credits back to the individual users.
Yeah, I see. We actually gonna would like to come back to the question later regarding data ownership and AI sovereignty. But I want to actually have a more question around the enterprises because I think Sahara AI today work with a lot of major tech companies, including Microsoft, Amazon, etc. And what specific data ownership challenges do you think this like enterprise face as they start to deploy AI at scale?
Yeah, I think these days, for enterprises in accessing data, the most interesting challenges for them is to uh, reach to those like darker part of the data world, right? Data space. We're mostly about this private data that is not on the internet, that is not probable or accessible by these AI companies. You have to really touch on the different end users to get those data, right? For example, our medical records, our conversational histories with other consultations, our chat history between friends, our personal photo libraries. We still have a sense of privacy in terms of protecting this data. Um, and if there's no clear economic models to protect like the safety of this data and no clear way to reward the users by feeding this data to power some sort of a downstream application, it's really hard for the companies, the enterprises to access this data. So I think really there need to be an infrastructure to allow a fair sort of a negotiation and sort of uh, data sharing infrastructure to safely allow companies to use this data for downstream application while having an automatic revenue sharing mechanisms to give back the credits to this user who providing this data. I think that's like the most interesting challenge. So basically, uh, the old model of like paying a one-time fixed cost to purchase data sets from the users is not going to work for such kind of sensitive private user data. Yeah.
I see, I see. So yeah, you described the challenges, right? The fact not having access to private data and not having enough incentive how users and lack of transparency. So that being said, it makes a lot of sense to have a properly designed like an incentive mechanism to have users that willing to more like contribute the data, but have audible trail to contribute that data. So with that, I think we can actually transition to more the AI sovereignty side of things. So could you like walk us through like how blockchain-based provenance tracking actually works in practice? And for instance, how do you regard the ownership, royalty on chain, track the whole rewards for AI training data on the private data?
Yes. There's two key elements in this whole provenance tracking frameworks. One is confidential computing. Second is the blockchain-based provenance infrastructure. Confidential computing, simply put, is a whole methodology that allows you to feed your data into some cloud-based servers without exposing them to third party. There's many ways you can achieve this. Uh, the most tangible way we are investing into is the trusted execution environment or TE based confidential computing framework. That's basically saying there's a hardware based security environments on your CPUs and GPUs on those cloud servers where you can throw data into there for model inferences or model training. And you can also provide verification of what you have been done on those CPUs and GPUs without worry about exposing those data to anyone outside of those hardware. With that confidential protection, the next thing is to really use the blockchain to trace from the very beginning to the very end how these user contribution flow, right? Starting with when we have hundreds of users co-create a data set, we will use the blockchain to recall the co-ownership of these users on-chain. Basically, the metadata is pushed to the blockchain, recording which wallet address or which user ID has been part of the owner of this data set and what ratios of the data set they are owning. And then this data set will basically be flow onto the downstream AI model training and agent usage pipeline, right? Many models will use these data sets, and one model might use these data sets in version one, and then another, and then maybe in the future version of it will reuse data sets for another round of fine tuning and so on. All it will be used for some retrieval augmented generations pipeline. So we basically set up smart contract primitives that can handle all sort of different collaboration mechanisms during the whole life cycle of AI development. And at the end of the day, what you can see is basically every single AI access, no matter it is a data set or it's an agent or it's a model, there will be metadata pushed on chain to recall is if this model was using some data set. And then you can look at the data set to figure out who are the owners or co-owners of the data sets, right? All these informations can be then used to power a sort of a revenue sharing mechanisms, which are also automatically done by the smart contract themselves, following the negotiated license types and ratios of the shares discussed on those smart contract.
Cool. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The whole flow from the confidential computer and the first, and then having blockchain as a provenance tracking mechanism. I believe that Sahara Chain already launched a mainnet, so definitely put the whole thing into practice. Can you share with us a bit more like the early success of the metrics and also some the kind of use cases or interesting use cases you have seen and enterprise grade capabilities that the Sahara AI mainnet is able to unlock to the current centralized AI platform cannot provide otherwise.
Yeah, just a quick clarification. We haven't launched the mainnet yet, but we have a testnet. Yeah. So we do have a pretty strong tractions on the testnet since we launched it in earlier this year, with over 700,000 of users, active users using the testnet, mainly for I would say three use cases. Number one being on our data service platform for conducting collaborative data collection and labeling to produce data sets with the co-ownership I mentioned, recorded on chain for various project who publish the data needs on our data service platform. So it's essentially a sort of a bridge between supply side and demand side about the data needs. Another place is the AI developer platform, where this is a one-stop shop for people to come in to build AI agent using the tools on the platform. And the reason why they interact with the testnet is every single one who produce an agent using the platform will also register agents on chain with the metadata and ownership, like I mentioned, what data sets it was used, which base model it was used, who provided recipe, and many other information about that. And that naturally will interact with the testnet. We see also pretty interesting sort of use cases emerge from those user built agents, especially around DeFi trading directions. And then the third place will be the marketplace. The marketplace is two-sided market where people come in to trade the license usage of different AI assets such as dataset, model, and agent. There's a natural next place of the funnel where after the developer build the agents on a developer platform, they will come to the marketplace to publish the agent, and data service platform users can also publish their data sets. on the marketplace, and people can come here just like browsing GitHub and browsing Hugging Face to find a bunch of elements for building their agents, and then publish their agents on the marketplace for downstream user usage. So, and I think we believe that currently, even though data service platform been seeing the largest user traction, but down the road, we are actually actively building this DeFi trading or DeFi portfolio manager type of use cases with our developer ecosystem. And Sahara ourselves are also actively building such an agent to set the example, to do the go-to-market, to attract the downstream usage, to bring in revenue. And we believe that will further accelerate the progress of growing the developer ecosystem around these use cases on our developer platform and marketplace.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing the early success in the Sahara and the different three different use cases I was seeing. Actually, on a kind of switch gear a bit, you actually mentioned earlier also. I want to actually the following section dive more into comparison between centralized AI and decentralized AI infrastructure. A lot of capability you guys offer more from the decentralized AI perspective. What do you think for like a business, a large business, enterprise evaluating different solutions or infra? What are the important factors they need to keep into consideration when choosing centralized, decentralized? And do you think zero-sum game, or do you think we can use both and there's pro and con for both? And also any risk for both, right? For centralized, decentralized infra.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting question. And I think this should be the question that keep asking towards the crypto AI community in terms of like validating what's actually the real value we can provide from a decentralized perspective, right? And my answer might be controversial here, right? I think for enterprises, naturally they are not a fan of decentralizations for the reasons of decentralizations basically split out their profit margin, right? Originally, the users can use their application by paying pretty black box margin to their product. And the decentralized AI is trying to give back the benefits, the profits to all of the upstream contributor, basically making the profits for the application builders thinner. And I think that's a pretty big downside for enterprise who are building application. But I think another upside for decentralized AI is the accessibility become much better because of you able to provide a much uh, more exciting incentives or incentivization structures for individual users or data contributors or whatever contributors, right? They could be contributors of the compute, data, or model recipe. These are very different target users, but they all are facing the same challenge of getting proper credits from uh, contributing to AI development. Because if you can have a good incentive in structures, then you will have a better accessibility to people's expertise. Like that's the case for developer. You can have a more better accessibility to private data. That's the case for data contributor. You have better accessibility to GPU compute, right? That's like the whole decentralized compute network idea. Um, I think that's the benefit. It's a better resource. You it's more like a better extraction of the resource, especially proprietary resources from the broader population, versus the current centralized AI paradigm. They can only extract resources from rather limited source. So I think there's this gap, and I don't think it's a binary choice between centralized and decentralized AI as of today. Maybe for a pretty um, um, visible time frame, we'll see centralized AI dominate the entire economic market, but decentralized AI will grow its own niche sort of market share, especially starting from meaningful verticals such as crypto use cases like DeFi trading, such as creator economy, anything that really benefit from personal knowledge to power the AI to really drive the market growth. I think those verticals will first see some breakthrough on decentralized AI. General domains, traditional sectors probably still gonna be dominant by centralized AI for a pretty long time. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think you're right. Like a lot of businesses are used to using the centralized AI infra like OpenAI, Anthropic Cloud, etc., etc. Um, but I'm just curious. Do you think to bridge that gap, in also obviously there's some niche scenarios that's particularly good for decentralized AI, for ownership, as you mentioned, DeFi trading or trading in general, or and creator economy or creator marketplace. Do you think there's any potential unlock factor that could be also kind of either intentionally or passively forcing or pushing enterprises to more decentralized future? For instance, more like a regulatory changes, especially on the privacy side, as AI entering a more mature space, and that could potentially lead changes to people have to follow the law, how to care about privacy, and how to care about auditability of the result. That could contribute to a more decentralized AI future because of the some of the legal aspect, or some any other unlock you can think of. In case you have any thoughts around that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. I think legislation is always a topic, but we have very little control or visibilities on the progress, right? And I think for historically speaking, for all these technology innovation breakthrough cycles, legislations are always much falling behind the game, and it's almost we shouldn't be expecting legislation to catch up the pace for us to really build up a sort of a envisioned future. We should just think about how to do it ourselves first, right? Maybe from the product design part of the things, maybe from the technology side of things, like the technical detail side of things to achieve the goal, rather than just sit there and wait for the legislation um, changes to catch up quickly. So I think that's like my first opinion, that we should just do it right now rather than just wait for any of the legislation changes. And I think in order to do it, we have been seeing some good directions, which I feel like could be the future one. One is the on-device AI. I think that's been a thing people talking about in the past few years, but I think we are much closer today than in the past. We've seen small quantized, compressed language model being as capable as a sort of elementary school students in terms of addressing questions, right? And I believe as time go in the next couple of years, we will see maybe a PhD level AI, general AI model, language model or multimodal model that can be put into your iPhone or any sort of smartphone that goes with you without connected to internet. And that will be very useful already. Like think about you don't even need an internet or cell phone signals, then you can have a smart GPT-4 level type of AI agent working with you. So I think that's like a one big direction. Another big direction will be this like confidential computing when they maturize, right? The whole TE ecosystem maturize, then we'll be able to do much larger scale cloud-based model inferences and say on policy reinforcement learning type of things, even in a very secure way with your personal data. Um, and then I think the verification technique will also come together, right? I also envision in the future we will have a whole suite of model provider auditing toolkits to audit if the model provider is doing is saying the right thing, is doing the right thing, right? Are they secretly replacing the model to get a bigger profit margin? Are they just deploying and other people's model and claim this is a new model? I mean, we see such things happens. Many times that people say, hey, we have an innovative model, but it's just a copy paste of another model with some small changes of the system prompt, right? All these things hopefully could be audited with just access to the black box APIs of the model provider. If we can have all this auditing and verification too. And I think all these elements come together will basically allow the user have much more diverse options of protecting their personal uh, knowledge and data security while enjoying the great sort of capability of the AI models. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with us, Sean, on the different aspects, and what do you think in the future that might potentially push the company to adopt more decentralized AI future. So as we're wrapping up this, I would like to actually ask you that what would you like to share with the audience, or want the audience to know about upcoming developments at Sahara AI, either as a user or they're probably going to be developer or listening to the podcast as well, and yeah, and just whatever you want to share with the audience.
Yeah, I think two main thing, right? One is we have a few pretty major enterprise and government partnerships going to be announced in the coming months. That is pretty big. That is be around our B2B go-to-markets for around data services and agent services, where both services are basically powered by the whole blockchain protocols and the one-stop developer platforms I was just introducing. Another big places is that we are branching out to start doing some B2B2C business expansion by creating actual consumer-facing applications that are built by the agent technologies and the platforms that I was introducing. And two verticals that we currently focus on. One is the DeFi co-pilot, which is eventually try to be a very personalized advisor for your DeFi um, um, yield farming, right? Like basically investment, portfolio management. For example, it help you suggest based on your risk tolerance level and your personal interest of the market, suggest you a bunch of DeFi protocols to put your money in, and further it monitor the market. It provide weekly or even more frequent adjustments to your portfolio, plus giving you very detailed analysis and justification of why these changes happened. Eventually, we hope this can be a very accessible, personal co-pilot to the Web3 DeFi trading people, but also new bits to cryptos that have frictions in terms of the DEX-based trading, for example. That's one vertical. The other vertical is creator, fan engagement, sort of a digital twin, where if you are a KOL, if you are influencer, if you are just like a domain expert that can engage with your fans for sales motions to create revenue, we want to create a digital twin that can help scale up and accelerate your progress engaging with your fans by autonomous conversation, autonomous sales script generation, and so on. So these two use cases we will be launching products very soon. So please stay tuned. And then the hope, of course, at the end is to use this user traction and revenue to feedback into our whole developer ecosystem for the developer platform, the AI marketplace, data service platform I was talking about.
Awesome. So thank you, Sean, for sharing with us all your insights regarding decentralized AI future and the data ownership. Just want to check if any departing thoughts you want to share with the audience, and also in case you want to get involved, like contribute as a developer, like using the developer platform, etc. How do they contribute? Get into touch. Get in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check out our homepage, saharaai.com, and our X, which is Sahara AI underscore Sahara AI Labs. And we will have all of the latest updates about community events, products, visions, and all of these like engagement. And the final thoughts to share will be just like I think crypto AI is clearly going to the stage of what we call the burst, right? Basically, lots of hypes was there in the past 1 year, and so now we see a lot of like burst of the sort of non-realistic ideas. But more exciting things, it will be for us to see what remains, right, to be the fundamentals of this intersection. And there's more for us to build, and Sahara AI will be part of this um, community to continues to build and provide our best outcome for the community. Great to be sharing that with you.
Yeah, definitely. I experienced similar as the space is going through a mature space, and definitely looking forward to have Sahara more contributing to the crypto AI and decentralized AI future as AI become more and more mature, and enterprise actually seriously start to adopt and look into the decentralized AI and data ownership space. So thank you so much, Sean, for your time today.
Thank you, Kun. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.